Mr. Triple-Double himself, Russell Westbrook. Back-to-back triple-doubles, 27 on the season, leads the NBA. He's going to have to face the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry without Kevin Durant tonight.
That's a bad man right there.
Shut your mouth.
Yes, you did.
Julius Randle also coming off a career-high 45.
Happy for the young fella. Happy for
Portland
him.
on Friday. He has the Phoenix Suns tonight as well. And speaking of those Portland Trailblazers, they won that game. They've won 3 in a row. They face the San Antonio Spurs, who have won 7 in a row. 8:30 tip for that one.
I hate to hit repeat, but that was a bad man right there.
Yeah.
Shut your
Dame
mouth times too.
Dot.
Welcome to Game Time Live. It's a shooter Saturday. Chris Miles here with 3D and Tough Juice. 8 games tonight. Should be a fun one. But before we get into some of this afternoon's action, which you can look forward to this evening, let's take a look back at something interesting from Friday night. Clippers beat the Bulls. Late in the third quarter, both head coaches were ejected at the same time. Doc Rivers, Jim Boylen had several run-ins throughout the game about hard screens set by Montrezl Harrell. Here's Doc Rivers with a not-so-subtle message.
I have no idea why I was ejected. I really don't. Honestly, I was talking to the ref. I just said basically that was a clean pick, and all of a sudden I hear Boylen yelling at me, saying that we were dirty or whatever, because I guess in the first half we said another legal pick, and one of their guys got hurt. That's, I wanted to say maybe turn around and yell at your guys and tell them to call out picks, but don't yell at me. I didn't say it that nicely. And then the ref just came and threw us both out. So I don't ever talk to the other coach unless the coach talks to me. That I didn't think I should have been thrown out for that. I didn't instigate anything.
Coach Doc reaching back into what player Doc might have sounded like in that situation. Is he correct?
I think he is, because look at the situation. The Chicago Bulls are a team that's struggling right now. They're trying to, finish the season out strong. They don't want to say 1, 2, 3 Cancun just yet. Right. So they're trying to stay engaged. And you see that pick right there. Look, that was a hard, solid screen right there.
Legal.
It's legal, and the Clippers are in, the playoff hunt. They're in playoff mode. They're trying to play their best basketball. And I totally agree with Doc by saying, look, that was just a solid screen, and he's protecting his players. But also with Boylen, he's like, I'm trying to protect my players, but his players need to be communicating. If a guy is up setting that screen that high, you got to have communication from the defender that's guarding Harkless.
No, I agree with you 1,000%, Ryan. Watching that play, even though Montrezl Harrell got called for that foul, when you go back and watch it again, if we show it, he's in position. He's giving the defensive player more than 3 steps. So to your point, the referee is looking, if there's less than 1 step, you call the foul. But when you watch that play again, there's more than 3 steps for the defender to get around that screen. So let's watch it. So there's poor. You see that? He's there. Montrezl Harrell is there. It's the teammates' poor communication why that foul happened. Now, obviously, Doc and Boylen going back and forth. I agree with Doc. Doc's never been one of those coaches to start conversation with the opposing coach. He's trying to talk to his teammates. Very unfortunate situation for both coaches, but Doc being around a little bit longer, I tend to lean on Doc's side.
And that play of Montrezl Harrell, as far as being an energy guy, a screen setter, a rebounder, it's one of the reasons the Clippers have won 7 of their last 9 and are now 10 games over 500, really cruising into the playoffs. And if you look at their schedule coming up, they face a bunch of teams. 5 of their next 8 opponents are not in the playoff picture at all.
Chris, if you'd have told me, Tough Juice, if you'd have told me after that trade, and we knew we had just had Mr. Ballmer in studio, the owner of the Clippers, talking about if you don't make this trade, your team makes the playoffs, you're going to lose a very important draft status. He said, we don't care. He said, I'm all about basketball, I'm all about winning. So after that trade, to see how Lou Williams has played, how they played as a team defensively, they're just playing lights out basketball, and it's all because of Doc Rivers. Once again, like he showed us last year. But why is his name still down at the maybe 3rd or 4th or 5th for Coach of the Year again?
Because you look at the success of, what the Milwaukee Bucks is doing, with Greek Freak, and he's possibly going to be the MVP. So you look at Bud being in that situation where, okay, that can happen. And then you look at the success of the Denver Nuggets and what's happening with them. So Mike Malone done an excellent job with that process. But listen, make no mistake, Nate McMillan, Doc Rivers need to be in that discussion, because what they have been able to accomplish with so much more less has been simply amazing. Outside of Lou Williams, if you're not talking to a basketball mind or a basketball person, they would not be able to run down the roster of 6 or 7 other guys on that Clippers roster. So they've been amazing in what they've been able to accomplish, the culture that they've been able to create. And check this out. They got spots for 2 max guys available.
Yes.
This is crazy.
Yes.
So that's looking ahead, but let's look forward to the playoffs this year. They've had a great regular season. Again, 10 games, over 500. Look like they're going to stay there. Can they make noise in the postseason? Looking at 1-8, probably not. But if they get, let's say, a 2-7 matchup against the Nuggets or a 3-6 matchup between any of those teams that can fluctuate?
Everything you just said, the only thing that makes sense, Chris, is the Nuggets because of their lack of experience, lack of going deep. We know the Warriors, they're trying to make 5 in a row. So that's a different conversation. If the Rockets are healthy, they showed us last year, Game 7 was at home before Chris Paul got hurt. So those conversations you say, the Clippers, you kind of want to stay away from those two. You really want to try to get to 7 and test the Denver Nuggets because outside of Millsap, there's no one gone deep in Western Conference or Eastern Conference, depending on what team they came from before they got to Denver. So that's why you say to yourself, to your question, try to get to the 7th seed.
That might be your best shot at it, but I think that when you look at the Nuggets, when you talk about Millsap and the only guy having that wealth of knowledge and that playoff experience, it might play in their favor that they don't have that knowledge and playoff experience. So you look at Boston last year, no Kyrie Irving, no Gordon Hayward.
Like it.
They was a couple minutes away from going to the NBA Finals. They're young enough not to know any better.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's scary in its own right.
Yeah.
Let's play the free agent game that you were just about to play there and look at the Los Angeles Clippers, 2 max guys they can bring in. Who fits best there? Is it Kawhi Leonard?
Absolutely. I love Kawhi Leonard there. You know, I love Kawhi Leonard there. I love a reunite of Tobias Harris possibly. I love the possibility of Jimmy Butler being out there that can possibly come there. I love, even bringing someone like a Kemba Walker over there. It's so many names that you can throw out there that fits the city and the culture because the Clippers is a grind, a laboring type of team where, Showtime is more L.A. with the Lakers and stuff like that with the big boom and, all that. But when you look at the Clippers, that's a grind team.
Well, even looking at the 2 max slots, it's easy to just say, okay, 2 max guys. But what about 1 max guy and then spreading that wealth amongst other players? You think that might be a good approach for the Clippers in the offseason?
I think that's going to probably be the biggest thing that happens because when you look at all the names, Tough Juice, you say, this guy probably stays, this guy probably goes. Now, what if Toronto goes deep all the way into the playoffs? Maybe they go to the finals and lose, or maybe they win it all. Now, I would think Kawhi would want to stay in Toronto versus you would think that, right? It's like we always throw all these scenarios out there, but we also have to wait and see how this thing unfolds in the playoff. How deep do some of these guys go? But you make a good point. What if the Sixers go deep into the Eastern Conference? You bring a good point. Hey, this is Jerry. Hey, Tobias. Hey, the reason I traded was all business. I love him to come back.
Come back.
Hey, this is Jerry West calling me. You mean I'm not going to say, hey, Jerry said he was sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going back to L.A. I love you, bro. I love you.
We saw your value.
Come on.
So we know how much we miss you.
So that's why you have to wait and see how some of this stuff plays out in the playoffs and how deep some of these guys go because it weighs on your emotions.
I think the narrative has changed in Los Angeles going across the street to the Lakers situation because before you looked at LeBron James and the Lakers. LeBron take you to the finals, you're on LeBron coattail, you're part of that experiment. No longer is that the case, and now LeBron actually needs help. So the recruiting process will be different. So some guys did not want to be in that situation where they like, look, I just rolled LeBron all the way to the destination. Now they're needed, so now LeBron is the pitch is going to be a little bit different. And you can see guys possibly sitting down with the Lakers saying, you know what, I can be the difference maker in this situation. You know what I mean? I can move the needle in this situation in the free agency and et cetera. So I think that the Lakers are going to land somebody significant.
A guy that was amongst this conversation this time last year, Paul George, getting ready for a big game tonight against the Golden State Warriors. No Kevin Durant, so PG going to be a guy.
One of the best two-way players in the game.
And Kyrie assisting, dishing, and finishing against the Hawks. That's up next.